Hey guys, it's Cam with Bellhart Marine. Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to say thank you for signing up for our Charleston trip this year. I think it's going to be a great time. With that being said, I'm going to put together this little navigation video. That way you guys can get an idea of what the trip's going to entail as far as traveling down the waterway. So just watch this video and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Alright, so what I want you to do is go to Google or whatever your browser is, search in Waterway Guide, then this will take you to this website that's called Waterway Guide. Then you want to type in Wilmington, North Carolina, hit search, and what it's going to do is it's going to pull up the nautical charts for our area. Now the trip is going to start in Wrightsville Beach, right here at Wrightsville Marina. So we're going to have, most of us are going to start here, but we are going to pick up people along the way. So we will head south down this waterway, and I'm not going to focus too much on the local waterway because most of you know it. Once we get down here, this is Carolina Beach Inlet. Everyone's going to be following me on this trip, so as long as you stay behind me, you will be fine. But I do want to let you know about some areas along the way. So right before we get to Carolina Beach Inlet, this area kind of shifts a lot, so we'll kind of need to pay attention in here because it has started to shoal and move a lot. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we will continue going south into Snow's Cut. Now if you've never been through Snow's Cut, it's alright. There's a rock pile kind of right over here you need to be careful of. Like I said, just stay behind me, you'll be fine. Once we get right here in this narrow cut here, you're going to have a series of red markers that are going to be on our starboard side as we are headed south. If you have never been in the river, this will change once we get to the river. So when you're headed south down the Intercoastal Waterway, all the red markers or triangles will be on our starboard side headed south. Once we get to the river, that changes because this is what's called a return from sea channel. So if you come down here by Bald Head Island, when you're coming in, I'm sure you've heard of the term red right return. So when you're coming up through here, up the river channel, all the markers are going to be on your right hand side. They will be red, which is kind of opposite of what we will be dealing with in the waterway. Little indication is these green can markers here will have a gold or yellow triangle on them. That will signify that we are in fact in the waterway, and it also acts as a red marker. So that can be kind of confusing, I know, but you can kind of learn the rules of the road and it'll explain all that a lot better into depth. Alright, so when we're coming out of Snow's Cut and we get into the river, this area right here is a big no-no. This is Sunny Point, so this is one of the largest arms depots on the East Coast. So if you're not paying attention, you can actually shoot straight across and run right into their channel. If you do that, they will shoot at you, so we don't want to go in there. Like I said before, as long as you follow me, you will be fine. So we'll take a turn to south down the waterway, or I'm sorry, the river rather. And once we get down to Southport, we'll hook a right into here and we'll slow down. I think we have probably 1 or 2 people that we're going to pick up in here. We're going to head a little bit further south. I believe right here at St. James we're picking up, I know 1, maybe 2 people, and we keep heading south. We have another one we'll be picking up in Holden Beach, and I think we have 1 more group that's going to link up with us here in Ocean Isle at Ocean Isle Marina right here. And then after that, I believe we'll have everybody tagging along. So let me kind of start to go over the rest of this trip. Alright, now that we've got everybody that we've picked up along the way, I'm going to try really hard to keep this short and sweet for you guys. I'm sure this is boring, but You know, some of you might like this. Let's see, we want to go to navigation alerts. So this is a good way where you can kind of get an idea ahead of time before we start traveling down south. You can kind of see where some hazards are and whatnot. And for the most part, it's a pretty easy trip. Again, you just follow me, you'll be fine. Once we get into South Carolina, we'll be kind of coming in here to Little River. This will be a lot of no wake area with some pickups here and there where we can pick up and run. This area right here, I'm sure you guys have heard, it's called the rock pile. This is basically, you have a section of the waterway on both sides where there's rock everywhere. You won't really notice it too much unless it's a low tide, but I believe our tides are kind of favorable for higher, from what I've seen future forecasts when we come through there in July. So the main thing here is we'll want to make sure that we kind of look and see if there's any radio traffic for barges, things like that. And if so, before we get up here, we'll kind of hang off to the side a little bit, let them pass, and then we'll come through. But this right here, you really want to pay attention and stay in the center of the channel. I always tell people, and I'm sure any of you that bought a boat from me, you know, always treat a channel as if you were a big boat. So I always stress, you know, try to stay in the center of the channel, and then obviously if someone's coming towards you, you know, pass them side too. But otherwise, stay in the channel and act like you're a cruise ship, if you will. That way you know you're in deep water at all times. So we'll keep moving forward, or sorry, moving south. And you know, there's a few swing bridges that we'll come across. We'll have to slow down for these bridges. Probably have to lower antennas, things like that. We might be able to get underneath a few of them, but some of them we'll have to let them open. There are some no wake zones all through Myrtle Beach in this area, but for the most part, you know, we can run. So we'll keep running south under some bridges. It might seem kind of weird, but if you haven't traveled down the waterway, once you get into South Carolina, the waterway kind of gets away from the coast, unlike North Carolina where the waterway is pretty close to the shoreline. So we're actually going to be coming into what's part of the Waccamaw River. And another thing I didn't mention, as far as bridges are concerned in South Carolina, they monitor channel 9. So we'll want to kind of, if we need to talk to any bridges, we'll change our VHF radios to channel 9 to communicate with them. Alright, so let me get to the Waccamaw River. Alright, so now that we're at the Waccamaw River, this is a really cool section. A lot of this all through here is very scenic. There's some really cool places to anchor up and just kind of enjoy nature, but obviously we're traveling, so we're going to turn and burn. Once we get through here to the Waccamaw River, we'll, you know, follow the markers heading south. We'll come down through here, kind of basically to kind of give you a reference where we'll start getting into the river. It's kind of across as a crow flies to Murrells Inlet. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Murrells Inlet, but actually Murrells Inlet you cannot get to from the waterway. That's only from sea, so we won't really be able to see anything in Murrells Inlet directly. But we will start heading south past Brook Green Gardens. I'm sure you guys have seen that if you've traveled down Highway 17. We will pass there, heading south. We'll pass a lot of old rice farms and stuff like that, which is really neat. We'll pass Heritage Plantation up here. There's a section right here I want to point out. So the actual channel comes south here, and what we're actually going to do, because there's a marina here and you got to slow down and all that, and I try to avoid any kind of reason to slow down if we don't have to, we'll actually kind of come this direction and shoot around here because there's deep water all through here. But like I said, just follow me, you'll be fine. But this will cut off, you know, a few minutes of time where we don't have to slow down coming through here. Now once we do that, you'll start to notice in the background when we're coming down here, you'll see a bridge, big bridge right here, and this is the bridge that you've taken on Highway 17 to go to Georgetown. So once we get underneath here, we're going to come through this channel, and then we are going to take a right and head up the Georgetown downtown channel. Give you a little bit of zoom in here. So what we're going to do is, again, we've been traveling south down the waterway. Notice how all the red markers are on our right hand side. This little guy right here is called a bifurcation marker, and this is where the channel changes into another channel. So once we get down through here, this basically is kind of like what happened when we were on the Cape Fear River. This green is actually going to be a red headed south. So what's going to be kind of weird is when we turn and we make a right into the Georgetown channel, the red markers are actually going to be on our right hand side because we're heading north at that point, and so it's going to be a red right return channel. And then we are going to come into here and you'll have another change. And then this will be pretty much, I don't think there's any markers through here, but basically we'll just follow along the docks and come up here to where we are staying right here, which is the Harbor Walk Marina. And then the George that we're staying the night at is actually located right here. So easy trip. Alright, so that's the end of the first leg of our trip. Alright, so we finished the first leg of our trip. Now we are going to get up Friday morning and head south to our final destination in Charleston, South Carolina. So what our plan is we'll get up, we'll head back down this channel, and then we will head south on this large river channel here. And we're going to keep coming down south here, and then there's a change in channels. So if we were to keep going this way, I'll zoom out, this channel heads out to sea. That's not where we're going to go. We're going to head down this southerly channel and follow this down here, and then we are going to take a right into here. Now the thing about this channel is I'll slow down before we get too close to it, but this channel is easy to pass because it's very narrow. So we're going to slow down here and we'll kind of get a straight in approach and follow into this channel, which kind of picks back up into the intercoastal waterway. So we'll be out of the Waccamaw River at this point. Yeah, this is just some information about this. It does get shoaling right there, so like I said, you do want to kind of stay in the middle of that channel. So if you want to study this a little bit more into depth before the trip, like I said, this is a really good website to use where you can kind of get an idea of what you're dealing with before the trip. Right here we'll have a little, I think this is where the little swing bridge is. It's actually a barge, but most of the time they're open, so we'll just kind of monitor the radio, see if they're open or not. We'll come through here and we're just going to keep heading south, following the markers. I'll zoom out a little bit more so you can kind of get an idea. So see, here's Charleston, and we're basically just going to follow this line all the way down. I'll zoom in a little bit more. There's not going to be too many issues. You'll have some shoaling here and there, and we'll just keep an eye on it as we go. Like I said, just follow me, you'll be fine. There'll be a couple of channels that we'll kind of come across, but we're not going to go down here. We'll stay in the waterway. And I'm trying to keep this short for you guys, I'm sorry. So keep coming down here, and then we'll reach this area, which I'm sure you guys have heard of, Isle of Palms. So this will be kind of some no wake through here. We'll get back up and run, and then once we get here, you're getting into Charleston Harbor. Zoom out a little bit. So this is Charleston, downtown Charleston, all right here. You got Mount Pleasant up here, and then this is the famous bridge that everybody knows. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow in right through here, and then obviously we're going to have to keep an eye on ship traffic because I'm sure there's going to be a lot. It's a pretty busy port. But once we get here, basically we're going to kind of cheat a little bit because all this water is pretty deep for the most part. So we're not necessarily going to go line to line to the channels. We'll come over here, we'll shoot across here, pick back up, basically split the difference between this red and this red, and just kind of follow in line here, hook into the channel. And then we are actually, where we're staying at Safe Harbor is going to be on this back west side, southwest side of Charleston. So we will be docking right here at Safe Harbor, also known as the Mega Dock. I don't know if you've ever heard of it called that, but this is where we're going to be staying. They're going to have a shuttle there for us so that we can, you know, get rides to wherever you chose to stay. You know, there's some hotels in this area that are close, but I think, you know, everybody was kind of looking at maybe Airbnbs and VRBOs. There's a couple little more private hotels and stuff, but basically, you know, anywhere around here in this King Street is going to be a good area to stay. That way you can kind of walk to everywhere that you want to be, and then you know, if you want to Uber you can, but there will be a shuttle at the marina in Safe Harbor that we can use at our disposal, so that'll be nice. I hope this was somewhat informative for you guys. I tried to keep it as less boring as I could, but you know, as you can see, you know, we got a lot of, this is there we go. You got a lot of travel, but you know, it's going to be broken up in 2 days, so it's not going to be too bad. And honestly, I know some people have had some concerns about the trip back. It'll be an easy trip back. It'll be a long day, but you know, it won't be anything we can't do. So if you guys have any questions, you all have my cell phone number. Please call me, text me anytime. I am here to help and give you as much information as I can before our trip. But anyway, if you guys need anything at all, just reach out to me, and look forward to seeing you guys out on the water.